Okay guys, so let's move to question 2.2.2, and this question is allocated 4 marks, and the question reads as follows: calculate the sum of the first 30 even terms of the sequence. So this should be one of the simplest questions where you need to first understand exactly what is being expected from you, and secondly, knowing which formula to apply in order to answer this question. But they've tried to be tricky in asking this question by saying the first 30 even terms of the sequence. So the tricky part about this is the fact that they mentioned specifically to say the first 30 even terms of the sequence. So you need to be very careful when answering this question. And the first thing that you need to do is to extend the given sequence. So what I mean by that, remember we're given 17, 20, and 23. So when I say you need to extend the sequence, is to get this additional terms of the sequence. Obviously, to get to 26, you remember our first common difference was 3. So you just add by 3, meaning from 17 to get 20, you add by 3. To get to 23, you add by 3. Obviously, to get to 26, you add by 3. To get to 29, you add by 3. So you just add by 3 until, up to infinity. So we just needed extra numbers or terms of the sequence. I think you'll understand shortly why we needed to extend, with a few extra terms. So remember, guys, even numbers, it's numbers from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, you can go on. So we refer to those numbers as even numbers. So I'm sure you already know that your homework will be to find out what is 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on. So that will be your homework. And I think this homework might benefit you in a sense that the question might not require you to calculate the sum of the first whatever number of the even numbers of the sequence. It could be this, which is your homework. So I would advise you to just try to find out what we refer to these numbers, and just give a comment on the comment section if you already know what the answer is, so that it helps those who are actually not sure of what they are. So let's continue with answering the question. So obviously that would mean 20, 26, 32, these are our even numbers. So that means from the whole of this sequence, we only focus on 20, 26, and 32. So this is part of your homework, to find out what we refer to these numbers. So obviously, because we're expected to calculate the sum of the first 30 even numbers of the sequence, that means we will need to know the difference of these even numbers. And most importantly, the difference between these even numbers should be constant, just like 3 was constant. So let's see. So when you subtract 26 from 20, let's see what we get. We get 6. When we subtract 32 from 26, what we get 6. So that obviously means our common difference of the even numbers of this sequence is 6. So we know our D is equals to 6. So what is our A? So our A, we know obviously A refers to the first term of the sequence, which is in this case we're dealing with the even numbers of this sequence. So that means our A, it's equals to 20. And then our N, it will obviously be 30 because the question expects us to calculate the sum of the first 30 even terms of the sequence. So I think without having to go further with this question, you can see that the question it's already done. So I'm not sure if there might be a need for me to explain this formula. I assume you already know that this formula, we use it to calculate the sum of the terms in a sequence. So obviously the next step, I'll just quickly show you the next step. So that means the sum of the 30 even terms of the sequence, it's equals to, where you see N, you just substitute with 30. So that means you've got 30 over 2 into 2, our A, it's 20, plus our N is 30 minus 1. Remember guys, your D, you should always put it in bracket. Just try to punch all of this, which is all of this, and insert your D on a calculator such that it's not in brackets. That's where you'll notice the need for you to always put that D in brackets. So your D in this case, it's 6. It's equals to. So let's quickly punch on the calculator and see how much we get as the sum of the even terms of the sequence. I've got 20 plus into 30 minus 1, your D, it's 6. So that means you've got 3,210. So this is the sum of the first 30 even terms of the sequence. So let's try, I'll just quickly show you. Let's try to have these 6 inserted but not, substituted in brackets. Can you see? It gives you an error. So it's more like you're saying 30 minus 1 close bracket 6. You see? So you need to place it in brackets. Let's do this. You need to place it in brackets to give this thing a mathematical meaning. So it's either you put it in bracket or you separate it by a multiplication sign so that the calculator can be able to mathematically read whatever that you punched on your calculator. Then it will give you a valid value. Otherwise, it's just an error. So okay guys, so now I can quickly show you the marking part of this question. So let's see, you get your first mark from having extended this sequence with an extra 2 even numbers. So that's where you score your first mark. Then you score your second mark by being able to identify that this is your A. So we'll give you a mark for that. And the third mark, you get it by being able to know that your D, it's now 6. So we'll give you a mark, which is your third mark. So you obviously know your final answer. It's given obviously a mark. So that's your fourth mark. So in total, this question, it's allocated 4 marks. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you understood. If you have any additional questions, you can just indicate on the comment section. Then I'll have a look at your questions and either address those questions on the comment section or just do a special video to attend to those questions. It will obviously depend on the volume of your questions and also the complexity of your questions. So that's basically how you answer question 2.2.2. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Right.